This is not a book you found. It is a book that found you. The ancient secrets within these pages have waited for the moment you were ready to receive them. Now, the universe calls you to awaken. Your journey into the mysteries of creation begins here. The Secret Book. Introduction. Through the ages, these sacred teachings have revealed themselves only to those whose spirits were prepared to receive them. You hold this book now because the universe has deemed you ready for its ancient wisdom. Like a key that appears precisely when the lock must be opened, these teachings emerge at the moment of your deepest readiness. Within these pages lie mysteries that have been whispered through generations, passed down by those who understood the true nature of reality. These are not mere words on paper. They are gateways to transformation, portals to understanding the very fabric of existence. You have felt it, haven't you? That persistent whisper in your soul, that knowing that there must be more to life than what appears on the surface. This intuition has guided you here, to this moment, to these teachings. The knowledge contained herein cannot be forced or rushed. It will unfold naturally, like dawn breaking over the horizon, illuminating your understanding one ray at a time. Through tales of wisdom, through symbols that speak to your deepest self, through practices that awaken dormant powers, you will discover truths that have always existed within you. This is not merely a book about manifestation. It is an initiation into the mysteries of creation itself. As you journey through these pages, you will learn to see beyond the veil of ordinary reality and recognize the invisible threads that weave the tapestry of your existence. The path ahead requires courage, for once you glimpse these truths, you cannot unsee them. Your perception of reality will shift, and with it, your power to shape your destiny will awaken. This is your invitation to step into the mystery, to claim your birthright as a creator of your reality. You have been chosen. The journey begins now. Part 1. The Awakening of the Chosen. Chapter 1. The Whisper of Destiny. In a village where time seemed to flow like honey, young Eleanor often walked along the ancient stone walls that bordered her home. One autumn evening, as golden leaves danced in the twilight, she heard something different in the wind, not merely the rustle of branches or the whisper of grass, but a melody that seemed to speak directly to her soul. The sound carried no words, yet Eleanor understood its meaning with perfect clarity. It beckoned her toward the forest path she had passed 1,000 times before, but never noticed truly until this moment. When the universe chooses to speak, it rarely uses words. Instead, it communicates through the language of the soul, through inexplicable knowings, through persistent thoughts that arrive like unexpected guests, through coincidences that feel too meaningful to be chance. These divine nudges arise when you have ripened to receive them, when your spirit has matured enough to understand their significance. The universe's selection is not random. It is precisely timed to align with your readiness. Like a flower that blooms at exactly the right moment, your awakening occurs when conditions within your consciousness have properly aligned. This selection marks the beginning of a sacred journey, one that transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary. In a distant land, there lived a craftsman named Joseph who spent his days creating beautiful objects from wood. Though his work brought him success, he felt an emptiness he couldn't name. One night, while working late in his workshop, he noticed how the moonlight cast shadows through his window, creating patterns on his workbench unlike any he had seen before. Night after night, these patterns appeared, slowly changing, leading his eyes to different corners of his workshop. Following these silent guides, Joseph discovered new techniques, new forms, new ways of working with wood that he had never imagined. His creations began to carry a quality that seemed to touch people's hearts in unexpected ways. The shadows had led him to his true purpose, not merely to craft objects, but to infuse them with spirit. Just as Joseph learned to read the language of shadows, you too are surrounded by signs and symbols meant specifically for you. Those moments when your heart quickens at an unexpected sight, when a random thought refuses to leave your mind, when a chance encounter feels charged with meaning, these are the universe's ways of speaking to you. To begin attuning yourself to these divine messages, create a daily practice of sacred listening. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. For 5 minutes each day, sit in complete silence. Close your eyes and turn your attention inward, as if listening for a distant song. After each session, write down any feelings, images, or intuitive knowledge that arose during your silence. Don't judge or analyze, simply record these whispers from the universe. With time, you'll begin to recognize the unique way the universe speaks to you. Chapter 2: The Veil of Illusion. In the bustling marketplace of an ancient city, Samuel moved through life in a perpetual rush, his mind clouded by endless transactions and worldly concerns. Each day blended into the next, a blur of negotiations and calculations. One evening, while searching through old ledgers in his shop's basement, he stumbled upon a dust-covered scroll tucked between crumbling walls. As he unrolled the aged parchment, the wisdom inscribed within pierced through the veil of his busy existence. In silence lies the truth. In stillness, all is revealed. The noise of the world creates a thick fog around your consciousness. Like Samuel, you may find yourself caught in the whirlwind of daily life, where urgent matters mask important truths. The universe speaks in whispers, yet modern life shouts. Your fears echo loudly, your doubts create static, and society's expectations drum a constant rhythm that drowns out your inner wisdom. These illusions, the belief that you must constantly do rather than be, that external success equals inner fulfillment, that time is your enemy rather than your teacher, form a barrier between you and your true potential. They are like veils, each one distorting your vision of reality, each one convincing you that the surface of life is all there is. In a quiet valley, Clara tended her garden with practiced hands. For years, she had fought against nature, forcing plants to grow according to her will, frustrated when they failed to thrive. One morning, after a storm had destroyed her carefully laid plans, she sat in defeat among her ruined flower beds. In that moment of surrender, she noticed for the first time how the morning light played differently on various leaves, how certain plants naturally grouped together, how the wind carried seeds to perfect spots she had never considered. She realized she had been imposing her limited vision on a system far more intelligent than her own understanding. Clara's story mirrors your own journey. Like her, you may be struggling against natural laws, trying to force life to conform to your limited perspective. The illusions you carry about your worth, your capabilities, your place in the universe, are like Clara's rigid gardening plans, preventing you from seeing the perfect order that already exists. Take a moment now to examine the beliefs that limit your vision. Write down 5 thoughts that constrain your potential. Perhaps you believe you're not worthy of abundance, or that your dreams are too ambitious, or that you must struggle to succeed. Next to each limiting belief, craft an affirmation that reflects your higher truth. If you wrote, "I never have enough," transform it to, "I am always provided for abundantly." If you penned, "I'm not talented enough," replace it with, "My unique gifts serve the world perfectly." Practice these affirmations daily, letting them dissolve the veils that separate you from your true potential. As you do this, watch how the universe begins to reveal its deeper truths to you, just as it did for Clara in her garden. Chapter 3: The First Glimpse. In the heart of an ancient valley where weathered stones held secrets of forgotten ages, David paused his journey. His feet, dusty from countless miles, had led him to a peculiar sight, a stone altar bearing strange markings. The inscription read, "What seeks is also sought, what calls is also calling." For days he pondered these words, until dawn broke one morning and understanding flooded his consciousness. The riddle wasn't a puzzle to solve, but a mirror reflecting the truth of his own quest. The universe speaks in mysteries that unveil themselves precisely when you are prepared to understand them. Each revelation arrives not as a thunderbolt of knowledge, but as a gentle awakening, like the soft light of dawn touching your consciousness. These first glimpses of truth often appear ordinary, a phrase that suddenly carries deeper meaning, a coincidence too perfect to ignore, or a moment when time seems to stand still. Your journey toward understanding begins with recognition. Just as David found meaning in ancient words, you too encounter signs daily. These signs speak directly to your soul, carrying messages that your logical mind may initially resist. Yet it is precisely this resistance that signals the presence of a deeper truth waiting to be discovered. The law of attraction operates not through force but through resonance. When you begin to notice these subtle signs, you are actually witnessing your own readiness to receive wisdom. The universe's messages appear not because you searched for them, but because you have become aligned with their frequency. Eleanor, whom we met earlier, experienced such an awakening while walking through a morning market. A street musician played a melody that seemed to freeze time itself. In that suspended moment, she understood with perfect clarity that her life's path needed to change. The music hadn't given her new information. It had simply created the space for her inner wisdom to emerge. That evening, she declined a promising job offer that would have taken her far from her true purpose, trusting instead the quiet certainty that had blossomed in her heart. These moments of clarity, whether they come through ancient riddles, musical notes, or quiet realizations, are touchstones on your path. They represent the universe acknowledging your readiness to receive deeper understanding. Like Eleanor, you have experienced such moments of knowing, times when truth bypassed your thoughts and spoke directly to your soul. Take time now to recall and record these moments of awakening in your life. In your journal, describe 3 instances when understanding dawned with unexpected clarity. What were you doing? How did the realization feel in your body? What truth was revealed? Write about how these insights have influenced your choices and shaped your path. Let the act of recording these memories strengthen your trust in the universe's guidance and your ability to recognize it. Chapter 4. The Choice to See. In a sunlit garden, Clara tended to her roses, carefully pruning away dead leaves while preserving the blooming flowers. Each morning, she maintained this comfortable routine, finding solace in its predictability. One dawn, as she reached for a particularly thorny branch, she noticed a golden key partially buried beneath her rosebush. The key seemed to pulse with an inner light, beckoning her to unlock something beyond her familiar world. Clara stood frozen, pruning shears in hand, knowing that acknowledging the key would forever change her carefully ordered existence. The moment of choice between comfortable illusion and challenging truth arrives for all who walk the path of awakening. This choice presents itself not as a dramatic crossroads, but as a quiet invitation that whispers to your soul. The universe offers these moments with infinite patience, waiting until you are ready to see beyond the veil of familiar patterns. Truth requires courage because it demands that you release what you think you know. Like a butterfly emerging from its chrysalis, transformation cannot occur while clinging to old forms. Each step toward deeper understanding asks you to leave behind the safety of your current perspective. This journey from ignorance to wisdom is not a single choice, but a continuous commitment to seeing with new eyes. The law of attraction responds not just to your desires, but to your readiness to receive. When you choose to face truth, even when it challenges your comfortable beliefs, you signal to the universe your willingness to grow. This choice activates a power within you that has waited lifetimes to emerge. Samuel, the merchant who once filled his days with endless transactions, stood before his warehouse filled with worldly goods. A mysterious light caught his attention, dancing across his ledgers and casting strange shadows that revealed the emptiness of his pursuits. In that moment, he faced the same choice as Clara: to turn away and maintain the familiar patterns of his life, or to acknowledge that his success had become a gilded cage, With trembling hands, he closed his ledger and, for the first time, allowed himself to question everything he had built his life upon. Your journey mirrors these tales. Each day presents opportunities to choose between comfortable ignorance and challenging growth. The power lies not in making the perfect choice, but in consciously choosing awareness over avoidance. Take a moment now to craft your declaration of intent. Write these words or ones that resonate more deeply with your spirit. I choose to see truth, even when it challenges my beliefs. I embrace the journey of understanding, knowing that each revelation brings me closer to my authentic self. I release the need for comfortable illusions and welcome the light of awareness into every aspect of my life. Today, I declare my readiness to perceive life's deeper meanings and to grow in wisdom. Chapter 5. The Gatekeeper's Test. Along a winding mountain path, David approached an ancient gate carved with symbols that seemed to shift and change as he drew near. Before it stood a figure wrapped in silvery robes, whose eyes held the wisdom of centuries. "What brings you to this threshold?" the gatekeeper asked, his voice carrying both warmth and authority. When David spoke of seeking truth, the gatekeeper smiled knowingly. "Tell me then, what truths do you already hold so dear that you cannot bear to question them?" The question struck David like a bolt of lightning, forcing him to confront the comfortable certainties he had carried all his life. Each belief he held dear suddenly felt heavy, like stones weighing down his progress. When you embark upon the path of transformation, you must first face the guardians of your own mind. These are the beliefs, assumptions, and certainties that have shaped your reality since childhood. They stand like sentinels at the gateway to higher understanding, challenging your readiness to proceed. The law of attraction operates not just through your conscious desires, but through the deep-seated beliefs that form the foundation of your thinking. These beliefs act as filters, determining what you can receive from the universe. Until you examine and question them, they will continue to limit the scope of your possibilities. True wisdom begins with the courage to question everything you think you know. Each belief must be held up to the light of consciousness, examined not for its comfort, but for its truth. This process can feel threatening because it challenges the very structure of your reality. Joseph stood before his workshop, tools in hand, frozen by the whispers of doubt that had always held him back. "Who am I to create something new?" the voices asked. "What right do I have to step beyond my station?" But this time, instead of retreating into familiar patterns, he chose to examine these thoughts. Where did they come from? Whose voice really spoke these limiting words? Your journey mirrors both David and Joseph's experiences. The gates you must pass through are guarded by your own beliefs about what is possible, what you deserve, and who you truly are. These guardians will not be defeated through force, but through conscious examination and understanding. Take a moment now to engage in this sacred practice. On a blank page, write down the fears that arise when you contemplate change. What beliefs whisper impossible when you dream of growth? What old stories tell you to remain small? For each fear you identify, ask yourself, is this truth? Or is this merely a familiar limitation I've accepted? Let your answers flow without judgment, knowing that awareness itself begins the process of transformation. Chapter 6. The Path of Shadows. Through the ancient forest of whispering pines, Eleanor ventured deeper into shadows that seemed to breathe with ancient wisdom. Each step carried her further from familiar paths, while twisted branches reached overhead like gnarled fingers against the darkening sky. Her heart pounded with each unexplained sound, each shifting shadow that danced at the corner of her vision. The darkness you face on your spiritual journey is not meant to frighten you. It exists to teach you. Like Eleanor in the forest, you must walk through territories that challenge your comfort, for it is in these spaces that the greatest treasures of self-discovery lie waiting. When uncertainty clouds your path, remember that darkness serves as the womb of transformation. It is the space where old beliefs dissolve and new understanding takes root. The shadows you encounter are not your enemies. They are teachers wearing dark robes, offering lessons that light alone cannot provide. Your doubts and fears arise not to stop you, but to show you where healing must occur. Each shadow represents an aspect of yourself calling for attention and integration. When you turn away from these darker elements, you reject parts of yourself that hold keys to your advancement. Clara stood before her empty canvas, brushes trembling in her hand. Years of dismissing her artistic dreams had created a mountain of doubt that now loomed before her. The blank white surface seemed to mock her aspirations, while voices of past critics echoed in her mind. But this time, instead of retreating, she dipped her brush in paint. With each stroke, she faced the fear of imperfection, allowing herself to create without demanding mastery. The darkness Clara faced was not in the act of painting itself, but in the vulnerability of beginning. Her journey mirrors your own moments of hesitation when the fear of inadequacy threatens to overwhelm your forward movement. Know that each step through uncertainty strengthens your spirit. The forest may seem endless, the shadows deep, but every great teacher and master once walked similar paths. Your willingness to proceed despite fear marks you as a true seeker of wisdom. Take your journal now and write about one fear that holds you back. Describe it not as an insurmountable wall, but as a shadow asking for your attention. Then, beneath this description, write one small action you can take tomorrow that moves you through this fear. This step need not be grand. Even the smallest movement forward illuminates the path ahead. Remember, the practice of confronting shadows requires not courage without fear, but courage within fear. Like the ancient mystics who ventured into sacred caves carrying only a single flame, you must learn to move forward while acknowledging your trembling heart. The fear itself becomes your teacher, showing you where healing and growth await. Let your written words serve as the first light piercing the darkness. For in giving voice to what haunts you, you begin to reclaim your power over it. Chapter 7. The Secret Language of Signs. In the early morning mist, Joseph walked along the ancient trade route, his mind heavy with decisions about which direction to take his merchant caravan. A white feather drifted down, landing softly at his feet. As he bent to examine it, a sequence of numbers caught his eye, carved into a weathered milestone. 1111. The wind whispered through the leaves, creating a melody that seemed to speak directly to his soul. The universe speaks in a language older than words. Its messages appear in patterns, symbols, and synchronicities that dance at the edge of ordinary perception. These signs serve as breadcrumbs on your spiritual path, guiding you toward alignment with universal truth. When you attune yourself to this sacred language, you begin to recognize that nothing is random. The repeated numbers you glimpse, the animals that cross your path, the words that catch your attention, all carry messages meant specifically for you. Like ancient hieroglyphs waiting to be decoded, these symbols hold wisdom for those who learn to read them. Samuel stood in his marketplace stall, frustrated by dwindling sales and uncertain prospects. 3 sparrows landed before him, pecking at scattered grain in a distinct pattern. He noticed how they moved in perfect harmony, each bird's movement complementing the others. Later that day, he observed the same pattern in how successful merchants arranged their wares. Following this natural guidance, Samuel reorganized his stall, discovering that nature had offered him a solution hidden in plain sight. These moments of synchronicity serve as bridges between the visible and invisible realms. The universe constantly reaches out, offering guidance through a tapestry of meaningful coincidences and natural symbols. Your task is not to force meaning where none exists, but to remain open to the subtle language of the cosmos. Begin now to cultivate awareness of these divine messages. Keep a small journal with you throughout the day. When you notice recurring numbers, animal encounters, or any symbol that draws your attention, record it without judgment. Write down not only what you observe, but how it makes you feel, what thoughts arise, and any intuitive insights that surface. This practice of sacred observation will gradually attune you to the universe's guidance system. Like learning any language, understanding comes through patient attention and regular practice. Let each symbol be a thread in the greater tapestry of your spiritual journey. As you develop this heightened awareness, you'll begin to recognize patterns emerging from what once seemed like random events. The universe speaks in whispers and gentle nudges, in the flight of birds across your path, in the words of a stranger that echo your morning thoughts, in the recurring song that follows you through your day. Trust in the process of unfolding awareness, knowing that each observation strengthens your connection to the divine conversation taking place around you. Chapter 8: The Mirror of Reflection. In the heart of an ancient valley, Clara discovered a lake so still it mirrored the heavens above. As she approached its crystalline surface, something drew her closer. The water reflected not just her physical form, but seemed to reveal layers of her being she had never noticed before. In that sacred moment, she saw beyond her outer appearance to glimpse the luminous essence within. The mirror of life surrounds you at every moment. Each person, situation, and challenge reflects aspects of your inner world. When you learn to read these reflections with wisdom, you unlock the gateway to profound self-knowledge. The universe has provided you with countless mirrors, in nature, in relationships, and in the quiet moments of contemplation. What you perceive in others often reveals more about yourself than about them. Your judgments, reactions, and attractions all stem from the contents of your own consciousness. The world serves as a living mirror, showing you what dwells within your heart and mind. David walked through the marketplace, irritated by a merchant's persistent haggling. Later that evening, as he reflected on his day, he realized his frustration stemmed not from the merchant's behavior, but from his own tendency to be inflexible in his dealings with others. In that moment of clarity, he understood that the very qualities that annoyed him in others were the ones he needed to examine within himself. This truth extends beyond personal interactions. Your experience of life, whether you see it as abundant or lacking, friendly or hostile, meaningful or empty, reflects your inner state. By understanding this principle, you gain the power to transform your reality by transforming yourself. To begin working with this ancient wisdom, find a quiet space where you can be alone with a mirror. Sit comfortably before it and allow your gaze to rest gently on your reflection. Breathe deeply and naturally. As you look into your own eyes, observe the thoughts and feelings that arise without judgment. Notice how your expression changes as different emotions surface. Write down what you discovered during this mirror meditation. What qualities do you see in yourself? What emotions emerge? What aspects of yourself do you tend to judge or avoid? Remember that true self-awareness comes not from criticism, but from compassionate observation. This practice opens the door to deeper self-understanding. As you develop the ability to see yourself clearly, you'll begin to recognize how your inner world shapes your outer experience. Through this sacred act of self-reflection, you align more closely with your authentic nature and the universal truth that dwells within. With each session before the mirror, layers of illusion fall away, revealing the divine essence that has always existed at your core. You'll discover that the mirror becomes not just a reflective surface, but a gateway to profound wisdom, a sacred tool through which the universe can speak directly to your soul. As your perception deepens, you'll find yourself naturally attracting experiences that resonate with your newly discovered truth. Chapter 9: The Awakening Dream. One night, Eleanor lay beneath the stars, her consciousness drifting between worlds. In her dream, she stood before an ancient door covered in symbols that seemed to pulse with living light. As she touched the door, the symbols began to flow like liquid gold, entering her body through her fingertips. In that moment, she understood that she held within herself the power to shape reality. Dreams speak in the language of the soul, carrying messages from the depths of universal wisdom. When you sleep, the veil between conscious and unconscious thins, allowing sacred truths to emerge through symbols and metaphors. Your dreams are not mere flights of fancy, They are doorways to understanding your deepest nature and highest potential. Each dream carries fragments of divine wisdom, waiting to be understood. The symbols that appear, whether a door, a bird, or a flowing river, reflect aspects of your inner journey. By learning to interpret these symbols, you access guidance that your conscious mind alone cannot provide. Samuel, a merchant known for his practical nature, once dismissed his dreams as meaningless shadows. One night, he dreamed of a golden key floating before him. As he reached for it, the key transformed into a brilliant light that filled his entire being. Upon waking, he felt changed, understanding for the first time that his analytical mind had been limiting his perception of what was possible. This dream awakened him to the reality that true wisdom often comes through channels beyond ordinary reasoning. The symbols in your dreams speak directly to your soul, bypassing the limitations of logical thought. A mountain in your dream might represent a challenge you face, while flying could symbolize your yearning for freedom. These messages emerge from the same universal source that guides the stars in their courses and the flowers in their blooming. To begin working with your dreams, place a journal and pen beside your bed. Each morning, before the dreams fade, record everything you remember: images, feelings, conversations, and symbols. Don't worry about making sense of them immediately. Simply document these night messages with openness and curiosity. As you practice this ancient art of dream recording, patterns will emerge. Certain symbols may appear repeatedly, offering guidance about your path. Pay special attention to dreams that leave a strong emotional impression or seem particularly vivid. These often carry the most significant messages for your journey. Write down your dreams without judgment or interpretation. Later, return to your journal and reflect on the symbols and their possible meanings in your life. Remember that you are the best interpreter of your own dreams, for they speak in a language unique to your soul's understanding. Through this practice, you open yourself to guidance from the deepest parts of your being. Your dreams become a sacred bridge between the seen and unseen worlds, offering wisdom that can illuminate your path and reveal your hidden powers. Like an ancient seer gazing into crystalline waters, you learn to perceive the subtle messages woven through your nighttime visions. Each dream holds the potential to unveil mysteries about your spiritual journey, your relationships, and the divine purpose that calls to your soul. As you cultivate this sacred connection with your inner wisdom, you'll discover that the universe speaks to you in ways both profound and personal, waiting only for you to listen with an open heart. Chapter 10. The Gathering of Inner Strength. David stood at the edge of a vast canyon, his heart pounding as he gazed at the narrow bridge before him. The ancient wooden planks swayed gently in the wind, suspended by ropes that disappeared into the morning mist. For days he had journeyed through mountains and valleys, following the whispers of truth that led him here. Now, facing this crossing, he felt the weight of his doubts pressing against his chest. Within you lies a wellspring of strength that flows from the eternal source of all creation. This power does not come from forcing your will upon the world, but from aligning yourself with the natural flow of universal truth. When you stand in harmony with these deeper currents, you discover a resilience that transcends ordinary courage. True strength emerges when you release the illusion of control and surrender to the wisdom that guides all things. Like a tree that bends with the wind yet remains firmly rooted, your power comes from flexibility combined with unwavering trust in the universal order. Joseph, a humble potter, worked for years creating vessels that always fell short of his vision. One day, as he sat at his wheel, he stopped trying to force the clay into shape and instead allowed his hands to move in harmony with its natural form. In that moment of surrender, he created a piece of such beauty that those who saw it were moved to tears. Through this experience, he understood that true mastery comes not from imposing our will, but from aligning with the inherent nature of things. This story mirrors your own journey, revealing a truth as ancient as creation itself. The strength you seek does not require you to become something different. It asks only that you recognize and align with who you truly are. Like Joseph with his clay, your power emerges when you work in harmony with your authentic nature. When you cease struggling against your innermost essence and instead allow your natural gifts to flow freely, you tap into a wellspring of creativity and wisdom that has always existed within you. This is the sacred dance between surrender and mastery, between accepting what is and creating what can be. Sacred practice. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Close your eyes and breathe deeply, allowing yourself to settle into stillness. From this place of inner quiet, complete this statement. I am powerful because. Let the words arise naturally from your heart, not your mind. Write down what comes through, crafting it into an affirmation that resonates with your deepest truth. Each morning for the next 7 days, stand before a mirror, look into your own eyes, and speak this affirmation aloud 3 times. Let each word vibrate through your being, knowing that you speak not just to yourself, but to the universal power that flows through you. Part 2, Deepening the Path of Discovery. Chapter 11, The River of Surrender. Eleanor stood at the river's edge, her path blocked by rushing waters that stretched far beyond her sight. For days she had tried to find a way across, searching for shallow points, attempting to build a raft, even considering swimming. But each attempt left her exhausted and no closer to her goal. As twilight approached, she sat upon a smooth stone, watching leaves dance upon the current. In that moment of stillness, she witnessed how the leaves did not fight the river but allowed themselves to be carried by its wisdom. The universe speaks through every flowing river and gentle breeze. When you release your grip on how things should be, you align with a wisdom greater than your own. This surrender is not defeat. It is an awakening to the natural order that guides all things. Life moves with a divine intelligence that far exceeds our limited understanding. Your struggles often stem from resisting this flow, from believing that force of will alone can shape your path. Yet true power lies in recognizing when to yield, when to allow life to carry you toward destinations you could never reach through effort alone. Like water itself, this wisdom requires you to become fluid, adaptable, and trusting. When you release the illusion of control, you discover that the universe has been supporting you all along. Your surrender becomes a gateway to grace, opening doors that no amount of pushing could breach. Joseph spent 20 years building walls around his garden, trying to protect it from wild animals and harsh weather. Each season brought new challenges, and each challenge demanded more defenses. One spring, exhausted from his endless battle, he finally stopped. He removed the walls and instead planted flowers that attracted birds and butterflies. He worked with the natural cycles rather than against them. To his amazement, his garden flourished as never before, becoming a sanctuary that served not only him but the entire village. Your life contains areas where you may be building walls instead of bridges, fighting currents instead of flowing with them. The very challenge that feels like an obstacle might be the river trying to carry you home. Sacred practice. Take a quiet moment with your journal. Write down one situation in your life where you feel stuck or are experiencing strong resistance. Below this, write, I release my need to control and trust in the wisdom that guides all things. Each morning for the next week, sit quietly and repeat this affirmation 3 times, allowing yourself to feel the tension dissolving with each breath. Notice how your relationship with this challenge begins to shift as you practice surrender. Chapter 12, The Echo of Intuition. In a sacred grove where time seemed to pause, Clara found herself drawn to an ancient oak tree whose branches reached toward the heavens, like wise fingers beckoning to unseen realms. As she settled against its weathered trunk, a peculiar stillness enveloped her. The rustling leaves above seemed to whisper secrets, not in words, but in feelings that resonated deep within her being. The voice of intuition speaks in whispers, in gentle nudges that arise from the depths of your soul. It is the first fleeting thought before doubt clouds your mind, the quiet knowing that precedes reason. This inner compass has guided humanity since the dawn of time, yet in the clamor of modern life, many have forgotten how to listen. Your intuition is the universe speaking through you, offering guidance that transcends logical understanding. It manifests as that inexplicable feeling in your gut, the sudden clarity that arrives in moments of silence, or the persistent thought that won't leave your mind. This wisdom doesn't shout, it whispers, waiting for you to become still enough to hear its message. Samuel, a merchant renowned for his shrewd business decisions, prided himself on following only facts and figures. One morning, he felt an unexplained urge to take a different route to the marketplace. Dismissing this feeling as foolish, he continued his usual path. Later, he discovered that had he taken the other route, he would have encountered a rare opportunity that could have transformed his fortune. This experience taught him that sometimes the heart knows what the mind cannot yet see. Think back to moments when you felt that quiet inner prompting. Perhaps you followed it and found yourself exactly where you needed to be. Or maybe, like Samuel, you dismissed it only to later wish you had listened. These experiences weren't coincidences. They were your inner wisdom attempting to guide you toward your highest good. Each gentle nudge, each whispered suggestion that seemed to arise from nowhere, was the universe speaking through your intuition. This sacred connection exists within all beings, though few learn to trust it fully. When you begin to recognize these subtle signals as divine guidance rather than random thoughts, you open yourself to a profound source of direction that transcends ordinary logic. Sacred practice. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Take 3 deep breaths and allow your mind to drift back to 3 specific moments when you felt a strong intuitive pull. In your journal, record these experiences in detail. What did the intuitive feeling feel like in your body? How did you respond? What was the outcome? End by writing this affirmation. I trust the wisdom that speaks through my inner knowing. Return to this practice whenever you need to strengthen your connection to your intuitive guidance. Chapter 13, The Dance of Desire. In the heart of an ancient city, David paused at the entrance of a weathered amphitheater. There, beneath the golden light of dusk, 2 dancers moved in perfect harmony. One dancer reached forward with passionate intensity, while the other flowed like water, yielding yet purposeful. Their movements told a story older than time, the eternal dance between yearning and acceptance. The nature of desire is often misunderstood. Many believe they must either grasp tightly or completely let go, yet true manifestation emerges from a more subtle interplay. Your desires are sacred messages from your soul, pointing toward your destined path. When you feel a deep longing stirring within, it is the universe speaking through you, revealing glimpses of your potential. Yet desire alone is not enough. The art lies in holding your dreams with open hands, trusting that the universe's plan may exceed your limited vision. This is the wisdom of the sacred dance, to move forward with intention while remaining fluid enough to receive unexpected blessings. Eleanor stood before her garden, visualizing the abundant harvest she wished to create. Each morning, she tenderly cared for her plants, pouring her love into the soil. But when the season brought different flowers than she had planned, she discovered they were exactly what her heart needed. Through this experience, she learned that clinging too tightly to specific outcomes could blind her to the greater gifts being offered. Your desires are like seeds planted in fertile soil, each one containing infinite potential waiting to bloom. Your role is to nurture them with faith and positive expectation, while surrendering the exact form of their manifestation to divine wisdom. When you release the need to control every detail, you create space for miracles that surpass your imagination. Trust that the universe holds a grander vision than your limited perspective can perceive. Just as a gardener cannot force a flower to grow faster by pulling on its stem, you cannot rush the divine timing of your manifestations. Instead, cultivate patience and maintain unwavering faith that your desires are taking root in ways beyond your current understanding. Sacred practice. Take out your journal and write down your 3 most cherished desires. For each one, examine whether you're holding it with clenched fists or open hands. Now, rewrite each desire as an invitation to the universe, beginning with, "I open myself to receiving," or "I welcome the perfect manifestation of." Feel the shift as you release attachment while maintaining the pure essence of your desire. Close your eyes and visualize yourself in the dance of creation, moving forward with purpose while remaining gracefully open to divine timing and infinite possibilities. Before we get into the next chapter, you can download a free ebook version of this audiobook using the link in the pinned comment below this video. Chapter 14, The Garden of Thought. In a secluded valley, Joseph tended to his garden at dawn. Each morning, he would carefully select seeds, preparing the soil with intention before planting. As he worked, he noticed how his thoughts about each plant seemed to influence its growth. The seeds he planted with joy and optimism flourished abundantly, while those sown in moments of doubt struggled to thrive. Your mind is like this sacred garden where every thought takes root and grows into your reality. Just as a gardener chooses what to plant, you select the thoughts that will shape your future. Each worry, fear, or limiting belief is like a weed that, if left unchecked, will multiply and choke out the beautiful blooms of possibility. The universe responds not to your words alone, but to the energy and conviction behind your thoughts. When you plant thoughts of abundance, love, and success with genuine belief, these seeds begin to sprout in your external world. This is not mere wishful thinking. It is the fundamental law of mental cultivation. Clara stood in her own garden, basket in hand, carefully removing thorny weeds that had sprouted between her roses. As she worked, she realized how these unwanted plants mirrored the negative thoughts that had crept into her mind. With each weed she pulled, she also uprooted a self-limiting belief. "I'm not ready" became "I am perfectly prepared." "I don't deserve success" transformed into "I am worthy of all good things." Just as Clara discovered, your mind requires constant tending. Negative thoughts will naturally arise, but you choose whether to let them take root or to replace them with empowering alternatives. Each time you catch yourself in patterns of doubt or fear, you have the opportunity to plant new seeds of possibility. Sacred practice. Take your journal and draw a line down the middle of a page. On the left side, write down the recurring negative thoughts that appear in your mind throughout the day. These are the weeds in your mental garden. On the right side, craft a positive, empowering thought to replace each one. For example, "I never have enough" becomes "abundance flows to me naturally." "I'm not talented enough" becomes "I am constantly growing and improving." "Things never work out for me" becomes "everything unfolds perfectly in divine timing." Spend time each morning reading these new thoughts aloud, planting them deeply in the fertile soil of your consciousness. Let each word resonate within you like droplets of life-giving water, nourishing tender seedlings. Remember, just as a garden needs daily attention, the pulling of weeds, the gentle watering, the patient tending, your mind requires consistent nurturing of positive thoughts to create the reality you desire. Through this sacred practice of daily affirmation, you cultivate an inner landscape abundant with possibility and promise. Chapter 15. The Hidden Treasure Within. In the depths of night, Samuel dreamed of an ancient map leading to untold riches. He journeyed across vast deserts, scaled towering mountains, and crossed treacherous seas in search of treasure. Exhausted from his quest, he finally returned home, only to discover golden light emanating from beneath his floorboards. The treasure he sought had always been there, waiting patiently beneath his feet. The truth of abundance lies not in distant lands or external pursuits, but in the sacred chamber of your own being. What manifests in your outer world springs forth from the wellspring of your inner reality. When you nurture thoughts of lack, scarcity follows like a shadow. Yet when you cultivate an inner garden of abundance, the universe mirrors this richness in countless ways. To attract prosperity, You must first become its living embodiment. Your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs create an energy field that draws similar experiences into your life. This is not merely about positive thinking. It is about aligning your entire being with the frequency of abundance. When you radiate gratitude, generosity, and trust, you become a natural magnet for prosperity. David, a merchant, spent years accumulating wealth through shrewd trading, yet found himself perpetually dissatisfied. One day he began giving freely to those in need, sharing not just his coins, but his knowledge and time. To his amazement, the more he gave, the more abundance flowed into his life. His generosity created a current of prosperity that returned to him multiplied. Like David, you may discover that true wealth flows not from grasping, but from opening your hands in sharing. The universe responds not to your wants, but to your way of being. When you embody abundance, expressing gratitude for what you have, sharing your gifts freely, and trusting in the flow of life, you activate the law of attraction in its highest form. Sacred practice. Find a quiet moment and open your journal. Write "My inner treasures" at the top of the page. List every gift, talent, and quality you possess. Your wisdom, creativity, compassion, resilience, and any other attributes that make you uniquely valuable. For each inner treasure, write an affirmation that connects it to abundance. My creativity opens endless channels for prosperity. My wisdom attracts abundant opportunities. My compassion creates rich connections. Read these affirmations each morning, feeling the truth of your inner wealth. Know that as you recognize and appreciate your inner treasures, the outer world cannot help but reflect this abundance back to you. Chapter 16. The Bridge of Belief. In the misty dawn, Eleanor stood before an ancient stone bridge spanning a deep chasm. Its weathered stones, cracked and worn by time, seemed barely able to support their own weight. Yet on the other side lay her heart's deepest desire. As she gazed at the fragile structure, a gentle voice whispered in the wind, "Your belief is the true bridge." The power of manifestation flows through the channel of your beliefs. Like Eleanor's bridge, the path between your current reality and your desired future may appear precarious. Yet it is not the physical bridge that carries you across. It is the strength of your conviction. When you doubt, the stones beneath your feet crumble. When you believe, they become as solid as diamond. Your beliefs are not mere thoughts, they are energetic foundations that shape the very fabric of your reality. Each belief you hold acts as a lens through which you perceive and experience life. These lenses either magnify or diminish your power to manifest. When your beliefs align with your desires, you create an unshakable bridge to their realization. Joseph, a humble potter, dreamed of creating masterpieces that would grace the halls of kings. Each morning, he would stand before his wheel and declare, "Through these hands flow works of divine beauty." At first, nothing changed, but as his belief deepened, his fingers began moving with newfound grace. His pots took on forms of such elegance that word of his artistry spread far and wide. It was not his skill alone that transformed, it was his unwavering belief that called forth his latent mastery. Like Joseph, you possess the power to strengthen your beliefs through conscious practice. Each time you affirm your capability, you lay another stone in your bridge to manifestation. Each moment you choose faith over doubt, you fortify the path to your dreams. Sacred practice. Take 3 breaths to center yourself. On your paper, write, "I now strengthen my bridge of belief." Create 3 powerful affirmations that resonate with your deepest truth. Speak them as though they are already real. I am divinely guided to my highest good. Abundance flows to me naturally and effortlessly. My dreams manifest with perfect timing. Repeat these affirmations each morning as the sun rises, feeling them anchor into your being. Let them become the foundation stones of your bridge to manifestation. Know that with each repetition, you strengthen your belief, and with stronger belief, Your dreams draw ever closer to reality. Chapter 17. The Fire of Transformation. In the sacred grove, Clara stood before the ceremonial fire, its flames dancing like golden spirits in the twilight. Ancient wisdom taught that fire transforms all it touches, reducing the old to ash so the new might emerge. As she approached the flames, her heart quickened with the knowledge that she must release who she once was to become who she was meant to be. Every soul reaches moments when growth demands release. Like a snake shedding its skin or a butterfly breaking free of its chrysalis, you must let go of old patterns, beliefs, and identities that have served their purpose. These limitations, though once protective, now bind you from expanding into your full potential. The fire of transformation burns within you always, ready to consume what no longer serves your highest evolution. This sacred flame knows precisely what must be released. Those fears that whisper, "I can't," those doubts that murmur, "I'm not worthy," those old stories that keep you bound to past versions of yourself. When you surrender these to the transformative flames, you create space for new possibilities to emerge. Samuel, a merchant who had built his identity around material success, stood at the crossroads of transformation. For years, his worth had been measured by his wealth, his status, his possessions. Yet his soul yearned for deeper meaning. One evening he gathered the symbols of his old identity, his finest robes, his ledgers of achievement, his carefully crafted masks of success, and offered them to the flames. As he watched them burn, tears of release streamed down his face. In letting go, he discovered a lightness of being he had never known. His true wealth, he realized, lay not in what he possessed, but in who he became through release. Like Samuel, you stand at the threshold of transformation. The fire beckons, ready to transmute what you've outgrown into the energy of new becoming. Sacred practice. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Light a candle with reverence, letting its flame represent the transformative fire within you. Take a piece of paper and write a letter to the version of yourself you're ready to release. Pour onto the page all the limitations, fears, and old identities you've outgrown. Begin with the words, "Dear past self, I honor how you protected me, but it's time to let you go." When your letter feels complete, read it one final time. Then, with gratitude for how this old self served you, safely burn the letter in a fireproof container. As you watch it transform to ash, feel yourself becoming lighter, freer, ready to step into your next evolution. Chapter 18. The Temple of Trust. In the heart of an ancient valley, where mountains touch the sky like silent guardians, David approached a temple carved from living stone. Its weathered steps, worn smooth by countless pilgrims before him, led to massive doors that seemed to open of their own accord. Inside, golden light filtered through high windows, illuminating an altar where an aged sage stood waiting. "Place your desires here," the sage whispered, gesturing to a simple stone bowl. "The divine awaits your trust." Trust, this most sacred act of faith, forms the foundation of all manifestation. When you release your grip on how and when your desires should materialize, you enter into divine partnership with the universe. Like a river finding its path to the sea, creation flows most powerfully when unimpeded by doubt and control. Your role is not to force outcomes, but to align with the natural current of universal wisdom. Each desire you hold is a seed planted in the fertile soil of possibility. Yet it is trust that allows this seed to grow in its perfect season. When you release your timeline and surrender to divine timing, you open yourself to possibilities beyond your limited imagination. Eleanor walked through a moonlit garden carrying a scroll containing her most cherished dreams. For years she had clutched these desires close, trying to control their unfolding. But tonight was different. At a crystal-clear pool, she knelt and placed her scroll upon the water's surface. As it floated away, she felt a weight lift from her shoulders. In that release, she discovered that trust was not the absence of desire but its purest expression. The universe holds infinite wisdom about the perfect timing and path for your desires to manifest. Your trust is the key that unlocks this divine orchestration. When you surrender your how and when, you allow the universe to work through channels you may never have imagined. Sacred practice. Write your deepest intention on a piece of paper, expressing it with clarity and feeling. Hold this paper to your heart and speak these words. I trust in the perfect unfolding of divine timing. I release my need to control and surrender this desire to universal wisdom. Choose a meaningful location, perhaps beneath a tree, near flowing water, or in a special place in your home. Place your written intention there as a symbol of your trust in divine timing. Let this physical act of surrender represent your commitment to co-creating with the universe. As you set down your intention, pause to feel the sacred energy of the moment flowing through you. Take 3 deep breaths, allowing each exhale to release any remaining attachments to controlling the outcome. Return to this spot whenever you need to renew your trust in the greater unfolding of your desires, knowing that this place now holds the energetic imprint of your surrender and faith in universal wisdom. Chapter 19. The Circle of Connection. In a hidden grove where ancient oaks formed a natural sanctuary, Clara discovered a circle of stones arranged in perfect harmony. As twilight descended, she noticed others arriving, each carrying a small lantern that cast dancing shadows among the trees. They gathered in silence, forming an unbroken circle of light. When all were seated, an elderly woman spoke. In unity, we amplify the sacred. What one flame illuminates, many flames transform into daylight. The power of collective intention flows through the fabric of existence like golden threads, weaving individual desires into a tapestry of shared manifestation. When you join with others who hold similar vibrations, your personal power multiplies exponentially. This is the sacred mathematics of the universe. Energy shared becomes energy multiplied. Each thought you hold creates ripples in the cosmic ocean, but when multiple hearts beat in harmony, these ripples become waves of transformation. This is not merely about gathering in groups, but about finding those whose spiritual frequency resonates with your own, creating a symphony of aligned intention. Joseph wandered for years, carrying his dreams in solitude until he found shelter in a mountain monastery. There, among others who understood the language of the soul, his intentions began manifesting with surprising speed. Each morning, as the brotherhood gathered to meditate, their combined energy lifted individual prayers like leaves caught in an ascending spiral of wind. My manifestations were seeds struggling in barren soil, Joseph later shared. But in the presence of others walking the same path, these seeds found fertile ground and flourished beyond imagination. When you connect with those who support your spiritual evolution, you tap into a wellspring of collective power. Your individual light, bright as it may be, shines even brighter when joined with others. This is the ancient wisdom of circles, of temples, of sacred gatherings, that in unity, we access forces greater than ourselves. Sacred practice. Choose one intention close to your heart. Hold it gently in your thoughts as you reach out to someone who understands your spiritual journey. This person might be a friend, mentor, or family member who resonates with your path of growth. Share your intention with them, speaking it aloud with clarity and purpose. Ask them to hold this intention in their heart for a moment, joining their energy with yours. Together, visualize your desire manifesting in its highest form. This act of shared intention creates an energetic bridge, amplifying your manifestation through the power of connection. Remember to express gratitude for their participation in this sacred exchange, acknowledging the divine spark that flows between kindred spirits. Chapter 20. The Silence of Knowing. In the heart of a bustling marketplace, Samuel felt overwhelmed by the cacophony of voices, the clatter of wheels on cobblestones, and the endless haggling of merchants. Seeking refuge, he ducked into an ancient temple where silence hung like a velvet curtain. As the outer noise faded, an inner voice emerged with crystal clarity, speaking truths he had long forgotten. Silence holds wisdom that words cannot contain. It is the sacred vessel through which universal intelligence flows into consciousness. When you step away from the world's constant chatter, you enter a sanctuary where deeper understanding dwells. In stillness, the universe speaks. Its language transcends thought, reaching directly into the soul. This communication requires no interpretation, for it arrives as pure knowing, a truth recognized rather than learned. Through silence, you access a wisdom that has always existed within you, waiting to be discovered. Most seek answers in the outer world, in books, teachers, and endless discussion. Yet the greatest revelations arise from the quiet spaces between thoughts. It is in these moments of pure stillness that divine guidance flows most clearly, offering insights that transform understanding into wisdom. David spent years traveling to distant lands, searching for answers to life's deepest questions. One evening, exhausted from his endless seeking, he sat beneath a cypress tree, surrendering to complete stillness. In that moment of perfect quiet, everything he had been searching for revealed itself. The purpose he had struggled to discover through countless conversations and teachings emerged effortlessly in silence. All my wandering led me in circles, David later reflected, until stillness showed me that my destination was here all along, waiting in the quiet of my own heart. When you embrace silence, you open yourself to receive guidance that cannot be heard above life's constant noise. This guidance comes as gentle nudges, subtle knowings, and moments of unexpected clarity. It speaks the language of intuition, revealing truths that your soul has always known. Sacred practice. Find a quiet space where you will remain undisturbed for 10 minutes. Sit comfortably, allowing your breath to naturally slow and deepen. Close your eyes and release any need to search, question, or understand. Simply rest in the stillness. As thoughts arise, observe them without attachment, letting them pass like clouds across the sky. Focus on the space between your thoughts, the silence that holds them. Notice any insights, feelings, or knowings that emerge from this quiet space. After your practice, write down any revelations that arose, knowing that each moment of silence deepens your connection to inner wisdom. Trust in the messages that emerge, even if they seem subtle or unclear at first. Your inner knowing speaks in whispers, and through this sacred practice of stillness and reflection, those whispers grow clearer with time. The wisdom that flows through you in these quiet moments carries the seeds of profound transformation. Part 3, Mastery of the Secret. Chapter 21. The Flame of Certainty. In a sacred temple high in the mountains, Eleanor stood transfixed before an eternal flame that had burned uninterrupted for centuries. The flame danced steadily, unwavering despite the winds that swept through the ancient halls. As she gazed into its depths, she understood that this flame mirrored the quality needed for powerful manifestation: absolute, unwavering certainty. The universe responds not to wishes or hopes, but to the unmistakable energy of knowing. When you hold a truth within your heart with such certainty that no shadow of doubt can exist, you align with the creative force that shapes reality. This certainty transcends mere positive thinking or affirmation. It is an unshakable knowing that resides in the very core of your being. Think of how you know the sun will rise each morning. You do not hope for it, wish for it, or try to convince yourself it might happen. You simply know. This same quality of absolute knowing is the foundation upon which all manifestation stands. When you achieve this level of certainty about your desires, the universe has no choice but to reflect your inner knowing in the physical world. Joseph, a humble potter, discovered this truth through his craft. Each day, as he shaped clay on his wheel, he began to understand that his creations emerged not from his hands alone, but from his absolute certainty in what the formless clay would become. One day, he applied this same unwavering knowing to his deepest dream, establishing a school for young artists. He held this vision with such certainty that he could feel the energy of young creators filling his workshop, hear their excited voices, see their emerging masterpieces. He did not question how or when it would manifest. He simply knew it as an inevitable truth, as certain as the sunrise. Within months, opportunities arose that seemed to arrange themselves. A wealthy patron appeared, space became available, and students began to arrive. Joseph's certainty had created an energetic blueprint that reality simply filled in, like water flowing into a perfectly carved channel. Your dreams await this same level of certainty. The universe stands ready to manifest what you know to be true, not what you hope might be possible, but what you accept as already accomplished in the realm of pure potential. Sacred practice. Choose one desire that burns brightest in your heart. In your journal, write a statement of absolute certainty about this desire. Begin with the words, "I know with complete certainty that." Write as though your desire has already manifested, using present tense language that carries the energy of accomplished fact. Stand before a mirror or candle flame each morning and speak your statement aloud with unwavering conviction. Let your voice carry the resonance of absolute knowing. Feel the truth of your words in every cell of your being, just as you feel the certainty of the sun's rising. Chapter 22. The Sacred Pause. In a secluded garden, Clara sat beneath a flowering tree, watching as buds slowly transformed into blossoms. Day after day, she returned to observe their unhurried unfolding, learning the wisdom of sacred waiting. The buds neither rushed nor strained. They simply held their potential in perfect trust, knowing their moment would arrive. Between desire and manifestation lies a sacred pause, a space where faith deepens and alignment refines itself. This pause is not empty waiting, but rather a pregnant stillness filled with invisible growth. Just as a seed in darkness must first establish strong roots before breaking through to sunlight, your manifestations often require a period of unseen development. During these pauses, the universe works in subtle ways, arranging circumstances, aligning energies, and preparing the perfect conditions for your desire to emerge. Your task is not to force or rush this process, but to maintain unwavering trust in the divine timing of all things. Each moment of waiting carries its own purpose, strengthening your faith and deepening your connection to universal wisdom. When you resist these pauses, you create friction that can delay manifestation, but when you embrace them with grace and trust, you enter a state of allowing that accelerates the natural unfolding of your desires. These moments of apparent stillness are actually powerful periods of energetic alignment. Samuel, a merchant who dreamed of opening a grand marketplace, discovered this truth through experience. For months, his plans seemed stalled, permissions delayed, partners hesitant, resources just out of reach. Initially, he fought against this pause, pushing and straining to force progress. But one evening, sitting by a still lake, he witnessed how the water's surface became crystal clear only when he ceased all movement. In that moment, Samuel understood. He began to treat his waiting period as sacred time, using it to refine his vision and strengthen his trust. Rather than anxiously checking for progress, he rested in absolute faith that everything was unfolding perfectly. When the marketplace finally opened, it exceeded his original vision in ways he could never have planned, incorporating elements that only became possible through the pause. Your current pause holds similar wisdom. Rather than viewing it as a delay or obstacle, recognize it as a vital phase in your manifestation journey. This is your time to deepen trust, refine alignment, and allow the universe to work its subtle magic. Sacred practice. Take a quiet moment to identify an area of your life where you feel stuck or in a holding pattern. In your journal, write, "I honor this sacred pause as a time of perfect unfolding. Everything is aligning for my highest good." Create a personal affirmation that transforms your waiting into sacred trust. Each morning, Find a quiet space to repeat this affirmation, allowing yourself to feel the peace of perfect trust in divine timing. Chapter 23. The Mirror of Mastery. David stood before an ancient mirror in a forgotten temple chamber, its surface gleaming with an otherworldly sheen. As he gazed into its depths, he saw not just his physical reflection, but layers of reality rippling outward from his being. Every thought, every belief, every vibration within him manifested as patterns in the world around him. The mirror showed him how his inner state created his outer experience with perfect precision. Your external world operates as a cosmic mirror, reflecting back the sum of your inner mastery. Each circumstance, relationship, and experience emerges from the template of your consciousness. When you understand this truth, you hold the key to transforming your reality. The universe responds not to what you wish for, but to what you embody. Your thoughts, beliefs, and emotional states create energetic frequencies that attract matching experiences. This is why two people can face the same situation yet experience entirely different outcomes. Their inner worlds shape their outer realities. True mastery comes from aligning your inner state with the reality you wish to create. When you cultivate abundance within, the external world must reflect abundance back. When you embody peace, your circumstances naturally reorganize to mirror that peace. This is not magical thinking. It is the operation of universal law. Eleanor walked through her garden, marveling at how it had transformed. Once wild and unkempt, it now flourished with order and beauty. She realized this change had begun not with her hands, but with her consciousness. As she had cultivated clarity, purpose, and harmony within herself, her environment naturally shifted to match her inner state. Her relationships became more fulfilling, her work more meaningful, and her days more aligned with her true nature. She understood that her outer world had become a perfect reflection of her inner mastery. This mirror principle reveals both challenge and opportunity. Every aspect of your life that you find unsatisfying points to an area where inner alignment is needed. Rather than struggling to change external conditions, focus on transforming the corresponding internal state. Sacred practice. Choose one area of your life, relationships, work, health, or abundance. In your journal, describe its current state in detail, being completely honest with yourself about both challenges and triumphs. Then explore how this reality reflects your inner beliefs, thoughts, and emotional patterns. Notice the direct correlations between your deepest convictions and your daily experiences. Write about the specific beliefs you hold in this area and how they manifest in your experience, examining both conscious thoughts and subtle assumptions that may shape your reality. Pay special attention to recurring patterns and situations that seem to repeat themselves, as these often point to deeply held beliefs seeking recognition. This reflection will reveal where shifts in consciousness can create powerful external change, illuminating the exact points where inner transformation will yield the most profound results in your outer world. Chapter 24. The Gate of Release. Samuel stood before an ancient gate adorned with intricate symbols, its weathered surface gleaming in the morning light. For years he had searched for this entrance, believing it held the key to his deepest desires. Yet now, facing it, he understood that the gate would remain sealed until he released what he carried within. His hands trembled as he touched the cold stone, feeling the weight of his final fear, the fear of his own power. This fear had been his constant companion, whispering doubts and keeping him safely small. But safety, he now realized, was merely another cage. The universe operates through the sacred law of release. What you cling to creates resistance, blocking the flow of greater possibilities. Each fear, each limiting belief, each attachment to specific outcomes acts as a barrier between you and your highest potential. True mastery emerges not from accumulation, but from surrender. When you release what no longer serves, you create space for new energies to enter. This letting go is not loss, but transformation, a sacred alchemy that turns limitation into possibility. Your willingness to release signals to the universe, your readiness to receive. Fear serves as the final guardian before breakthrough. It appears largest just before release, testing your commitment to growth. Yet this intensity signals not danger, but imminent transformation. The universe asks, will you trust enough to let go? Clara stood in her garden, gripping the dried roses she had tended for years. These flowers represented her attachment to a past version of herself, the self that sought approval, that measured worth through others' eyes. With trembling fingers, she released the stems, watching as the wind carried the petals away. In that moment, something shifted within her. As the old blossoms disappeared into the distance, new buds began appearing on once barren branches. Her garden, like her life, was ready for fresh growth. This release holds power because it creates space for what truly belongs in your life. Each time you let go of what no longer serves, you align more deeply with your authentic path. The universe can only give you what you have room to receive. Sacred practice. Find a quiet moment and bring to mind one belief, habit, or attachment that no longer serves your highest good. Write it down on a piece of paper, expressing fully what you are ready to release. Feel the weight of this limitation and your readiness to let it go. Choose a simple yet meaningful act of release. You might burn the paper safely, bury it in the earth, or dissolve it in water. As you perform this ritual, speak these words. I now release what no longer serves my highest good, making space for new blessings to enter. Feel the lightness that comes with letting go, knowing that this release opens the way for greater possibilities to emerge. Chapter 25. The Inner Oracle. In the heart of an ancient grove, Eleanor knelt beside a still pool, its surface like polished obsidian. For moons she had traveled far, seeking wisdom from sages and scholars. Yet here, in this sacred space, she discovered that the answers she sought had always dwelled within. As she gazed into the depths, her reflection began to shift, revealing not her physical form, but the luminous essence of her inner being. In that moment, she understood. Every question carried its answer, waiting to be heard in the silence of her own heart. The voice of truth speaks through you in every moment. This inner oracle, this wellspring of wisdom, flows ceaselessly beneath the surface of everyday thoughts. When you align with this voice, you tap into the infinite intelligence of the universe itself. Your inner knowing is not separate from universal wisdom. It is the very channel through which divine guidance flows. Many seek truth in external sources, wandering far from home while carrying a compass within their own heart. Yet this inner voice speaks in whispers, requiring you to cultivate stillness and trust. It communicates through subtle feelings, through the quiet certainty that arises when you pause to listen. This wisdom manifests as an immediate knowing, a truth that resonates beyond reason or logic. It appears as the gentle nudge steering you toward or away from certain paths. It emerges in moments of perfect clarity when your mind grows still and your heart opens to receive. Joseph stood at a crossroads, faced with a decision that would alter the course of his life. Instead of seeking counsel from others, he closed his eyes and turned inward. In the depth of his being, he felt a clear direction, not as words but as an unwavering certainty. Though this path appeared challenging to others, his inner oracle guided him forward with quiet confidence. As he followed this guidance, doors opened effortlessly, confirming the wisdom of his inner voice. Your inner oracle never steers you wrong. It is only the mind's doubt that creates confusion. When you learn to distinguish between the voice of fear and the voice of truth, you become your own most trusted guide. Sacred practice. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Light a candle if you wish, creating an atmosphere of sacred communion with your inner wisdom. Take several deep breaths, allowing your awareness to settle into your heart center. Hold a single question in your mind, one that seeks genuine guidance. Let this question rest in your heart rather than your head. Now, With pen and paper ready, close your eyes and listen deeply to the wisdom that arises from within. Write whatever comes without judgment or editing. Trust that your inner oracle speaks through these words, offering the guidance you seek. End by thanking this wisdom that dwells within you, knowing you can return to this well of truth whenever you need guidance. Chapter 26. The Crown of Responsibility. In a chamber adorned with ancient symbols, Clara stood before a weathered altar. A simple golden crown, crafted from twisted vines and studded with crystals, rested upon a silk cushion. As she approached, the crown began to glow with an inner light, responding to her presence. "This crown is not for adorning," whispered an ageless voice. "It is a symbol of the responsibility that comes with wisdom." Clara understood. Her journey had never been about personal power, but about becoming a vessel through which light could flow to others. When you walk the path of spiritual mastery, you become a living bridge between divine wisdom and those who seek it. This sacred responsibility calls you to embody the teachings in every breath, every action, every moment. Your life becomes a testament to the transformative power of these universal truths. Leadership in the spiritual realm manifests not through authority, but through authentic embodiment. As you align with higher wisdom, others naturally recognize the light within you. They are drawn not to you, but to the truth you reflect, like moths to a flame, seeking their own inner radiance. Your role is not to create followers, but to awaken leaders. Each person you encounter carries a seed of divine wisdom waiting to sprout. Through your presence and example, you water these seeds, encouraging others to discover their own inner power. David walked through the marketplace, carrying himself with quiet dignity. A merchant, struggling with fear and doubt, caught his eye. Rather than offering advice, David shared his own story of transformation, speaking from a place of lived experience. His words carried the weight of truth, touching something deep within the merchant's heart. In that moment of connection, the merchant glimpsed his own potential for change. When you share your wisdom, do so with humility and grace. Remember that you are not the source of the teaching, but a channel through which it flows. Your struggles, your victories, your moments of awakening, all become bridges that others may cross on their own journey to truth. Sacred practice. Take a moment to reflect on your spiritual journey, the challenges you've overcome, the wisdom you've gained, the transformations you've experienced. Consider how these experiences might serve as a light for others walking similar paths. In your journal, write down one specific way you can support another person's growth this week. Perhaps it's sharing a practice that has helped you, listening with presence to someone's struggles, or simply being an example of what's possible through inner work. Choose an action that feels authentic and aligned with your current level of understanding. Remember, even small acts of guidance can create ripples of transformation in others' lives. Chapter 27. The Path Beyond. In a hidden garden atop a mountain peak, Samuel discovered an ancient spiral staircase that seemed to stretch endlessly into the clouds. As he climbed, each step revealed new vistas. Each landing offered fresh perspectives until he realized that the summit he sought was merely another beginning. I have mastered these teachings, he had thought. Yet the universe gently showed him otherwise. Each revelation opened doorways to deeper mysteries. Each answer birthed new questions. Each achievement unveiled greater possibilities. The infinite nature of spiritual growth mirrors the endless expansion of the universe itself. Just as the cosmos continues to unfold, your consciousness possesses unlimited potential for evolution. What appears as mastery is simply a plateau from which to glimpse the next horizon. This eternal dance of growth follows a spiral pattern. You return to familiar lessons, but experience them at deeper levels. Each cycle builds upon the last, adding layers of understanding to what you thought you already knew. The journey never ends. It only grows richer, more nuanced, more profound. Clara stood in a chamber of mirrors, each reflection showing a different aspect of herself. One mirror revealed who she had been, another showed who she was becoming, while countless others displayed potential futures yet unexplored. She understood then that mastery was not a destination, but a doorway, each achievement opening into new realms of possibility. "I see now," she whispered to her reflections, "that what I thought was the end is merely a beginning." In accepting this truth, she felt not disappointment, but liberation. The pressure to arrive dissolved, replaced by the joy of eternal discovery. Your spiritual journey is an infinite spiral of becoming. Each lesson mastered reveals new depths to explore. Each truth understood opens doors to greater mysteries. This is not a burden, but a blessing. The assurance that life will always offer fresh opportunities for growth and transformation. Sacred practice. Find a quiet moment to sit with this question. What new horizon is calling to me now? Listen deeply to the stirrings of your soul, the gentle pull toward your next evolution. In your journal, write about one area of your spiritual life where you feel drawn to explore more deeply. This might be a familiar teaching you're ready to understand at a new level, or an entirely unexplored aspect of your spiritual path. Create a simple intention statement that honors this call to growth, beginning with the words, "I open myself to." Let this statement serve as your compass as you step into your next spiral of development. Return to it daily, perhaps during your morning meditation or evening reflection. Speak it aloud with conviction, allowing each word to resonate through your being. As you do so, visualize yourself crossing the threshold into deeper understanding, embracing the mysteries that await. Your intention becomes a sacred key, unlocking doors to wisdom that has always existed within you, patiently waiting to be discovered. Chapter 28. The Gift of Grace. In a bustling marketplace, David searched frantically for a rare herb needed to heal his ailing mother. For days he had visited every merchant and healer, but found nothing. Exhausted and discouraged, he sat beneath an old olive tree, surrendering his desperate quest to the universe. At that precise moment, a traveling medicine woman appeared, carrying the exact herb he sought. She offered it freely, saying only, "The universe provides when we release our grip on how blessings should arrive." Grace flows most abundantly when we cease forcing outcomes. In your deepest alignment with universal truth, you understand that striving often blocks the very gifts seeking to reach you. The universe operates through divine timing, delivering precisely what is needed when the soul is ready to receive. This sacred flow of grace requires no earning, no struggling, no proving of worthiness. It asks only for your trust and openness. When you release rigid expectations of how your desires should manifest, you create space for unexpected miracles to enter. This surrender is not passive resignation, but active faith in the universe's infinite wisdom. In a distant valley, Eleanor had long dreamed of studying with a renowned teacher. She had written letters that went unanswered and made plans that fell through. One morning, while tending her garden with no thought of her wish, a stranger appeared at her gate. This visitor, a close friend of the teacher she sought, had been guided to her door, bearing an invitation to study at the teacher's side. "I had given up hoping," Eleanor said, "and in that release my heart's desire found its way to me. Your life contains countless moments where grace awaits expression. Often these blessings arrive in unexpected forms, through unlikely channels at surprising times. Trust that the universe holds your highest good in its infinite wisdom, orchestrating circumstances beyond your imagination." Sacred practice. Take a quiet moment with your journal. Write a heartfelt letter of gratitude for blessings you cannot yet see, but trust are unfolding. Begin with the words, "I give thanks for." Express appreciation for the unexpected gifts that are making their way to you even now. Write as though these blessings have already arrived, filling your letter with the emotion of received grace. Place this letter where you can read it daily, allowing its words to cultivate deeper trust in the universe's perfect timing. Let it remind you that grace flows most freely when you remain open to receiving it in any form. Each time you encounter these heartfelt expressions of gratitude, feel the resonance of your faith growing stronger, knowing that the seeds of abundance you've planted through these words are already taking root in the fertile soil of possibility. This simple practice creates an energetic bridge between your present awareness and the infinite blessings making their way toward you. Chapter 29, The Final Revelation. In a sacred grove, Clara sat beneath the stars, her mind stilled after years of seeking. As she gazed upward, the boundaries between herself and the cosmos began to dissolve. In that timeless moment, she understood. She was not separate from the stars above, but made of the same divine essence. The illusion of separation melted away, revealing a truth so simple yet profound. She had always been one with everything. The ultimate secret lies not in acquiring wisdom, but in remembering what your soul has always known. You are not a fragment seeking wholeness, but the wholeness itself, expressing through form. Every breath you take is the universe breathing through you. Every heartbeat echoes the cosmic pulse that moves through all creation. When you truly grasp this truth, manifestation no longer feels like reaching for something outside yourself. It becomes a natural expression of your divine nature. You're not attracting from without, but awakening what already exists within. This understanding transforms everything: your relationships, your work, your very experience of being alive. In a distant temple, Samuel stood before an ancient mirror. As he gazed at his reflection, the glass seemed to dissolve, revealing not his physical form, but pure light extending infinitely in all directions. In that moment he saw that his body, thoughts, and desires were waves in an infinite ocean of consciousness. His seeking ended, not in finding something new, but in recognizing what had always been. "I searched the world for treasure," he whispered, "only to discover I am the treasure itself." This revelation awaits within you, eternal and unchanging. Your separation from the universe is the grandest illusion, a dream from which you are now awakening. Like waves rising from and returning to the ocean, you have never truly been apart from the infinite source. As you embrace this truth, you step into the full power of your divine nature, recognizing that you are both the dreamer and the dream itself. The veil of separation dissolves, revealing the luminous reality that has always been your essence. Sacred practice. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Sit comfortably and close your eyes. Begin by focusing on your breath, feeling the rhythm of life flowing through you. Now, envision yourself as pure light, radiant, boundless, and free. See this light extending beyond your physical form, merging with the light of all creation. Feel the boundaries of self dissolving into infinite oneness. As you rest in this awareness, silently affirm, "I am one with the infinite universe. All that exists flows through me. I am that I am." Remain in this state of unity consciousness for several minutes, allowing the truth of your divine nature to permeate every cell of your being. Chapter 30, The Keeper of the Secret. In the heart of an ancient grove, David stood before a weathered stone altar, his hands tracing the sacred symbols etched upon its surface. The knowledge that had once seemed distant now pulsed through his very being, as natural as breathing. He understood that the secret was not merely information to be guarded, but a living truth that must be embodied in every moment. The secret, once revealed, cannot be unknown. It becomes woven into the fabric of your existence, transforming how you move through the world. Each breath draws you deeper into this knowing. Each step aligns you more fully with universal truth. You do not merely possess this wisdom, you become it. To carry the secret is to live in constant awareness of your divine nature. It means recognizing that every interaction, every choice, every moment reflects the infinite wisdom you now embody. This knowledge brings both power and responsibility. You become a living testament to the truth, demonstrating through your presence what is possible when one awakens to their true nature. In a distant mountain sanctuary, Eleanor sat in meditation as morning light painted the sky in gold. She had sought wisdom in ancient texts and sacred places, only to discover that the greatest truth resided within her own heart. As she opened her eyes, she saw the world anew, not as something separate from herself, but as a mirror of the divine wisdom she carried. Each person she encountered was another facet of the infinite, each challenge an opportunity to demonstrate the secret's transformative power. The secret lives through you, flowing like a divine river through every aspect of your being. It expresses itself in your words, your actions, your very presence, transforming the mundane into the sacred with each breath you take. You need not speak of it directly. Your life becomes the teaching, a living testament to the power that dwells within all hearts. Those who are ready will recognize the light you carry and be drawn to their own awakening. Just as moths are drawn to flame, their souls remembering an ancient truth they had forgotten. This is how wisdom has been preserved and transmitted through the ages, not merely through words, but through the living example of those who embody it, becoming beacons of possibility for all who cross their path. In your awakened state, you become a bridge between worlds, silently demonstrating through your presence what is possible when one awakens to their true nature. Sacred practice. Find a quiet moment and light a candle, symbolizing the eternal flame of wisdom. Take 3 deep breaths, centering yourself in the present moment. On a clean page, write your personal pledge to honor and embody the secret. Begin with these words: I, your name, recognize the sacred trust that has been placed in my care. Let your words flow naturally, expressing your commitment to live this truth and share it through your example. When complete, read your pledge aloud 3 times, feeling each word resonate through your being. Keep this pledge where you can see it daily, as a reminder of your sacred role as a keeper of eternal wisdom. If you enjoyed this audiobook, I created a free ebook version for you. You can download it using the link in the pinned comment. Conclusion. As you close these pages, know that you have not merely read words, you have awakened to a truth that has always resided within you. The secret now flows through your veins, whispers in your thoughts, and shapes the reality you create with each breath. This knowledge cannot be unlearned, for it has become part of your very essence. Your journey through these teachings mirrors the eternal spiral of growth. There is no true ending, only new beginnings. Each revelation opens the door to deeper understanding. Each mastered lesson reveals new horizons to explore. The secret you now carry is both ancient and eternally new, constantly unfolding in fresh ways through your unique experience. In accepting this wisdom, you step into your role as a creator of reality. Your thoughts, now aligned with universal truth, carry the power to shape worlds. Your presence, infused with this knowing, silently teaches others through example. You need not speak of these mysteries directly. Your transformed life becomes the teaching. Remember that moments of doubt may still arise, for this too is part of the eternal dance. When uncertainty clouds your vision, return to the practices you have learned. Feel the truth that pulses in your heart, that flows through your breath. The secret is not something external to be grasped, but an inner knowing that grows stronger with each passing day. You were chosen by this wisdom not by chance, but because your soul was ready to remember its true nature. This remembering carries both privilege and responsibility. To live with awareness, to create with intention, and to serve as a beacon for others awakening to their own truth. Let each step forward be taken with the knowledge that you walk in alignment with universal law. Your journey continues, expanding infinitely, revealing new depths of understanding. The secret lives through you now, expressing itself in every choice, every breath, every moment of creation. This is your inheritance and your gift, not just to know the secret, but to embody it fully, to live it completely, to express it uniquely through your being. You are both student and master, seeker and guide, always growing, always expanding into greater awareness of what has always been true. If you enjoyed this exclusive audiobook, I handpicked this next book which will change your life.